Okay. But when they get it, they really get it. And they save a ton of money because they don't have to have all the math tutoring, all the reading recovery work, all the speech and language, because often they're emotional blocks to learning. And that's really what most of our fellows and our clinicians in the school-based program are doing every single day. And I want to just put in for one more plug for evidence-based work. Psychoanalysis and psychodynamic work has been around for 125 years. If that is not evidence that it's working and it's been modified, including, I don't know what is. So I appreciate the other forms of therapy, but when they get to be 125 years old and they're still around, then I'm going to have the same problems. Our fellows really understand and appreciate that probably their own personal development is one of the most important things that they can possibly be doing. So I found a quote from Arthur Drusilla, who I really liked, and it's a book that's actually about 4 teachers when teachers face themselves. And I'll read a little bit of quote, but I want to just say the people who are really important, again, the fellows who do this work, the supervisors who are working with them, the didactic teachers that we have, and all the administration and everybody that kind of keeps it going and keeps it afloat. So many thanks, and you've heard their names, so I won't repeat them all again. And here's the quote from Drusilla. I'd like you to think and keep in mind one thing that he says about the importance of really looking inside, because we can always blame the outside world for a lot of things, but the only thing we really have control over is kind of getting to understand ourselves. And somebody's earlier kind of quoted the unexamined life versus the examined life. He was talking about the book, and the examined life is really what we're going for in our type of work. But this is from Drusilla. The need for helping children and grown men and women face and find something essentially meaningful comes at us from headlines telling us of tensions in the world we live in. Man has made fabulous progress in exploring the external dimensions of his world and controlling its physical properties, but his power has not been matched by a cultivation of his courage to draw upon himself. The modern man, for all his contrivances, is still as much in need of finding himself, in facing the meaning of his existence, as he was many eras ago. No intervention in science or gimmicks in education can obviate the necessity for the search. Hopefully the schools and families touched by our fellows grow as our fellows have grown into fully feeling humans and who really are the future of our brand of therapy. So without any other ado, I'd like to introduce Laura Kalisa, who is our graduating second-year fellow in the Sterling School-Based Program. Woohoo!
Thank you, William. My name is Lauren Zalista, and I'm one of the school-based fellows. Pleasure being here with all of you tonight. I've been reflecting on my work in the school. And just briefly, I'm going to just reflect a little bit. There was that day in the school that my 7-year-old client, Keely, declared that she had no feelings, and then proceeded to tell me that they were in her tummy, were flushed down the toilet, and swam out to the ocean, and then landed at my house. Where they were peeping in on me outside my windows. She painted them for me and explained that Sadie was most definitely not a friend of Happy. Or there was Mario, who in our first month of working together threw things at me and could barely tolerate being in the room, who months later shared the horror of being with his dad, the one with the shark feet, through a painting with me. Or there was Jada, whose trauma history and recent death of her father keeps her from being with uncomfortable feelings. There was the day when I longed to gratify her wishes, but stayed with her uncomfortable feelings and resistance. After much silence, we walked outside together, and she proceeded to play me the song, Stand By Me, on her cell phone. And then finally there was the day that Jada shared about her dad's death in group, and then rallied around her 9-year-old classmate who also lost a parent, saying, no matter what, Darren, your mom will always be with you. Even though she died, she will always be in your heart. Wow. This is the girl who that could not be comfortable with those feelings. Each of these children have stories to tell. Stories that make us pause, stories that make us cry, and stories that leave us with more questions than answers. I have been in the school-based fellowship now for 2 years, and I have had the great privilege of listening to these stories. It is hard work, but it is work that needs to be done. These are the stories that need to be told. It is our job as clinicians to be the sounding board for these stories, to listen with our whole bodies and minds, right here, right now. To listen completely and work with our clients to bring about some sort of positive change. This is our duty. This is our call, especially for the traumatized children that I work with. I must stand by them, as my client so poignantly told me. It has been a great honor to be part of the school-based fellowship these past 2 years. Today I stand here a more confident, smart, intuitive, and well-rounded clinician, and also expressive arts therapist from Leslie, who asks better questions and listens more carefully. I am grateful to my supervisors who have guided me on this journey and have helped me to get to this point. Dr. William Sharp, Ann McCauley, Brent Reynolds, Dr. White, Amy Fleischer, who is here tonight, and Lisa Kinby. Thank you. Thank you as well to my fellow school-based fellows for listening to me, for laughing, and for helping me find my clinical voice. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you.
So first of all, my apologies. Despite my efforts, we are going over. I hope you all had enough appetizers to tide you over, but we're going to keep on trucking through. Lisa Sadler, come on.
I'd like to start with thanking my lovely cohort, Kim, Claire, and Alicia, and Sonora, whose forged entire camaraderie has really helped me out throughout this program, and I don't think that I would have been able to complete it if it weren't for you, so thank you very much. I want to thank my supervisors for helping me reflect on my work and with more contained desire and memory. And thank you all for never trying to be anything other than your extraordinary human selves. Our instructors, and their literary instructors, for challenging and constantly, something is erased here. I'm going to try to reconstruct it. For challenging me to still to keep a balance between knowing and not knowing, sort of be open. And finally, my endless gratitude and love to my family. My mom for teaching me to be curious. My dad, whose love of the profession is obviously contagious, for teaching me how to turn that curiosity inward. My daughter Abigail for existing. And to my husband Amit, my partner in adventures and everything for the past 10 years, for constantly providing me with a cool head, a warm heart, and a hot meal.